They take an $18 meal and turn it into $35, $36, and now add $2 more onto that? I'm not going to do it.
The numbers are being met with a collective shrug over at Seattle City Hall after Uber just agreed to pay millions to drivers after allegedly failing to abide by the law.
If you use DoorDash, you're paying higher fees in Seattle than anywhere else in the entire country.
First delivery today, $7 at my site.
So $7 is enough for a 60-minute trip like that?
No, that is not enough.
All right, the burrito in person costs about $12 and change. Let's see how much it costs when you use the DoorDash app.
Driver Mark Mosif looks at his delivery map and sees a food desert in Seattle.
And it is $10 more with the fees than what it costs in person.
You're going to run businesses out.
He blames the 2022 Seattle Pay Up legislation implemented last year, designed to pay app-based gig workers more than minimum wage.
DoorDash says they made no money last year in Seattle. In fact, they say they lost money due to the city's mandatory pay regulations.
It doesn't work anymore.
As drivers like Mosif chase the next order.
This month, DoorDash says fees will jump up 15 to 30% more.
We are 2 years in on a Seattle law mandating higher delivery driver pay for like DoorDash and UberEats. And it is a disaster. By the numbers. We've got a new study out. By the numbers, DoorDash orders, UberEats orders absolutely tanked. This is kind of another one of those I told you so. Let's get into it. Here we go. Just 2 weeks after the law went into effect, it went into effect in 2024. So we've literally had 2 years of, hey, how's it going in Seattle? And the answer is, if you're a DoorDash driver, not well. Seattleites had to contend with $26 coffees and $32 sandwiches. I've personally talked about the $32 burrito. It's like, what are we doing? It's a good burrito, but no burrito is worth $32. You can get a cheap burrito for like $10, $12, but then literally you're going to double that price with all of these fees. And some of the news stories that we saw earlier didn't have the extra $5 fee in there that is now so common. They've got just these nonsensical fees because they've got to make up for the fact that they're just wildly overpaying their drivers for a service that, you know, you go pick up the food on your own and it's literally half the price. It's wild. Socialist Seattle. Who knew, right? Who knew? And what's the city council doing? They're coming up with another communist, tax to hit the people up with. It's going to be great. It's going to be epic. In 2022, Seattle City Council passed an ordinance mandating a minimum earnings floor for app-based food delivery drivers in the city. The law finally went into effect in January 2024. But so far, the main result has been consumers deleting their delivery apps en masse, food orders plummeting, and driver pay cratering. It's kind of like the ridiculous knuckleheads at Starbucks. And it's kind of like our ridiculous mayor in Seattle going, we need to protest Starbucks. Because when those folks, protest individual Starbucks stores, guess what happens? Those stores get closed. So then your minimum wage goes from whatever to zero. And that's the math that I'm always talking about. You can't have zero. That means you're unemployed. How did that work out for you? Not that great. The ordinance, part of a legislative package called I Am a Dumb Shit in Seattle. It was passed under a banner of protecting gig workers. You know what? Some jobs are only worth something, like pouring coffee at Starbucks, right? Gig workers, hey, if this is the job you chose and that's what it's paying, and then all of a sudden the city of Seattle says, we need to bump that up, even if the economics don't work. We're seeing in real time what happens when the economics of communism don't work. By setting a compensation floor for app-based delivery drivers based on miles driven and amount of time worked, the ordinance operates at a supremely complicated minimum wage. I mean, the formula for this is just, okay, so I'm not even going to read it. Here it is. It's based on a labyrinth of calculations and agreed. This is, it's insane. Heralded as a first of its kind legislative breakthrough by a bunch of commie libtards. Oh, I'm sorry. I added that part. When it passed, The first 2 months of the ordinance operation provided a grim world economics 101 lesson. Who would have seen this coming? Who thought? Who thought, wow, that's going to happen? Yeah, the communists in City Hall in Seattle, they don't care. They got what they wanted. Oh, yeah, workers of the world unite. Well, now your workers of the world unite aren't getting any business. First, the delivery companies are forced to add a $5 fee to cover sudden labor cost increase. That's when I started. Literally, I used to order a lot of food from a Mexican restaurant in downtown Seattle that kind of the Westlake area. It's epic. Absolutely epic food. Love the food. And it was, a mile and a half away. So by the time the DoorDash driver would get to my spot, it was still hot and it was great food. But I can't have the cost literally doubling for basic food items. I'm not going to order it. I'm just not going to consume it, right? So we got that $5 fee. Cover sudden labor increase on cue. This is boom. News stories started popping up at $26 coffees, $32 burritos, $32 sandwiches, and $35 Wingstop orders, in which taxes and the new fee comprise nearly 30% of the total. And that is what we are facing now. So, Seattle, how you like them apples? Seattle, with its new mayor, is going to have some real aha moments. But you know what? The leaders in Seattle, they won't go, aha. They'll just look around in bewilderment and go, what happened? I don't get it. What happened? Well, you're a numbnut, and you legislated this, and this is what you get. Okay. UberEats experienced a 30% decline in order volume. DoorDash, 30,000 fewer orders within the first 2 weeks of the ordinance taking effect. We covered that. The numbers are absolutely astounding. The near future looks even grimmer for Seattle delivery customers and drivers. After passing the pay up package, City Council then decided that implementing the minimum earnings portion of the ordinance would require 5 new full-time government employees in the city's Office of Labor Standards. Always more government for these people, isn't it? It's insane. It's pure insanity. But given the recalcitrance of city officials, Seattle residents likely will have to resign themselves to more $26 coffees for this foreseeable future. Oh, that's comforting. That's nice. Okay, so that's from Reason. Let's go to NPR. Let's see what NPR's got to say. There's some good stuffs here. Seattle's gig worker law was supposed to boost pay. It did at first until orders dropped. Uh-oh, what happened? A few months, and then what? This is a few months after the law was put in place. Things slowed down. Orders weren't coming in. They still aren't coming in like they used to. One worker told me she can be logged on for hours without receiving an order. Well, that's what happens when you jack the price up so high that nobody wants to pay that. They'll either not order it, pick it up in person, or go hungry. Maybe they make it at home. What a novel concept, right? Customers still want the convenience, but many balked at the fees. And that's where I am. I will still do an occasional order in Bellevue to my home in Bellevue. I will not do anything in Seattle out of sheer principle, because these people that just jam down this legislation, whether the economics of the individual business can handle it or not, it's pure communism. I know it's socialism, but communism is such a better word, right? Here we go. A meal might be $12 or $15 in our restaurant. Guy told me, by the time a customer gets it through these apps, it becomes $35, $40. So I wouldn't buy our own food at that price. Why should we expect consumers to do that? Customers to do that? He estimates his business declined by 50%. This is Udam Mukherjee, co-owner of Spice Walla, Indian street food on Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill. And street conditions in Capitol Hill have not gotten better. They've gotten way worse. Here's something interesting. Cities like Denver and Portland saw up to 30% increases in monthly average sales compared to 5% in Seattle. Huh. Weird. What's going on? Just to be clear, Denver and Portland don't have gig worker laws like Seattle. I'm surprised. Why isn't Portland getting in on this? I mean, it's working so well. Why wouldn't they want it? Or Denver, right? Both of these cities are equally mentally impaired as Seattle. Interestingly, appetite for app-based deliveries isn't slowing down. In 2024, the industry generated nearly $30 billion in revenue. So this is not one of those industries. This isn't like retail clothing, right? That people are like, no, I'm just buying it on Amazon. This isn't that impact. This is specific to Seattle and specific to the harebrained idea that we just need to jack up industry wages so that people can. That's not how it works, guys. That is not how it works. Sorry. And you're just going to have to find that out the hard way. Weird. Our tax revenue is decreasing rapidly. Weird. So listen to this. And again, this is NPR. A fair amount of unhappiness around this locally. Is there any pressure being brought by anyone to have Seattle City Council revisit this issue? Oh, they never will. At the moment, there's no indication of any pending changes, and that adds to the frustration that businesses feel. They say support the intent of paying workers. They say support the intent of paying workers well, but they end up shouldering the ripple effects. And it's not just businesses, right? It is the workers themselves who find themselves typically just worked out of a position. There's no work for them. There's no deliveries for them because their city just went, full on mentally handicapped. This is that study. Delivering higher pay, the impacts of a task level pay standard in the gig economy. And it basically just says, Seattle's host. Seattle's host. Then we get into, check this one out. Seattle now faces the highest DoorDash delivery prices in the United States. How's that going, Seattle? How is that working? Starting this month, consumers in Seattle will face even more increases in DoorDash service fees. And when was this? This is July of 25. Man, I don't know if I've ordered from them since then, but over in Seattle anyway. DoorDash, which reported operating at a loss in Seattle. I mean, that's all you need to know. How's it going for DoorDash in Seattle? Well, we're losing money. And we got $35 burritos. But other than that, good. They announced the fee hikes in response to the city's policy and revenue losses due to increased orders from the existing high fees. Decreased orders. It's just the whole thing is in order to meet the $26.40 an hour minimum wage before tips requirement, DoorDash tacked on a $4.99 fee to all orders. And then in August of 2024, added an additional $1.99. I mean, the numbers are just absolutely astounding. Average fees for Seattle consumers are now the highest in the country, more than double those in cities like Denver, San Francisco, and Portland, which are equally mentally incapacitated, right? San Francisco is probably the leader in there with Daniel Lurie in charge. Denver and Portland, just absolute madness, right? Anything that makes sense, do the opposite. That is what legislature in Denver and Portland are doing. Just, go that way. Your economy's going to get better. Go that way. We're going hard this way because, our feelings tell us to do that. Well, the feelings that people need to be able to afford to work in Seattle get you to this point. You know what? It's like in Los Angeles. It's like in Los Angeles where you have people driving for forever to commute to their jobs, right? That's just how it goes. You can't take the end location and say, well, we need you to be able to work here. Therefore, we're just going to absolutely jack the price up. And don't worry, the consumer, they're still going to pay it. It's like what is happening with the billionaire tax in California, the millionaire tax in Washington state, the statewide income tax, just the statewide, I meant to say payroll tax. You've got all of this new stuff coming online, all of this just absolute craziness. And the Democrats, they actually believe that people are just going to stay put and go, oh, well, I guess I'll just bend over a little more and take it with a smile. But that's not how this game is played. People are moving. People will vote with their feet. People are getting out. People are leaving. People are no longer buying DoorDash orders when you've got this absolute fluff in there to get where the Seattle City Council, which doesn't understand economics at all, thinks people should be paid for a service that costs way too much for people to order now. Make that make sense. Politics in Seattle make absolutely zero sense. It's crazy stuff. But you know what? The way I see it, podcasts for days, weeks, months, years. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.